All right, paradox. Sophie Jacobs, what do you have to say about that word? I love that
Yeah.
word because I always call myself an oxymoron, and I love oxymoron everything. So, what's your
Oh
word
yeah.
there? Paradox. Tell me
Oh
more.
yeah. That's such a word that keeps coming up in my life. I feel like the more that I connect spiritually to life, the more
Yeah.
that I find that it is a living paradox to just exist.
Wow. That's
Um,
huge.
it is a huge thing. And to the mind, it can be really unsettling sometimes. Like the mind wants like some sort of like ultimate truth that like makes sense in its sort of conventions. Um, but to really know deeply, sometimes we have to surrender to even that. And so that surrendering process um, is a process of, it can be a process of going within. So
Right?
when I think of paradox in this context of going within, um, I find that paradoxically, when you go within yourself, connect
Yep.
to yourself on a deeper level,
Right?
really get to know your own like inner terrain, or as Brene Brown says, like Atlas of the heart, for
Yeah.
example.
Right?
Um, there's actually a way in which you start to know the whole world, the whole universe. Because if we think of the fact that like we're just expressions of the
Yep.
universe, we're the universe expressing itself, we are life living itself. When we go within, we connect to life, we connect to that universal intelligence, and that actually forms the basis of connection to the outside. So connecting with others and connecting with kind of the universe at large, really, because
Right.
what goes on within actually gets reflected um, outside. And so there's this paradox there because we
Yeah.
think like, oh, I'm me and you're you. And when I go within, that's like inherently a selfish thing. It's like I'm becoming self centered.
Sure.
And there's a way in which, yeah, we can become self centered. But at the same time, it's actually a conundrum, a paradox that we find these inner riches, and paradoxically, all we want to do is share that with others.
Yeah.
And
You
so
know,
when your cup is full, you can start to give from a place that's so much more abundant than you can ever imagine. And so, yeah,
yeah,
there's just that
for sure.
playful paradoxness
Yep.
of
Paradoxness.
the inner journey,
I love it.
like
Yeah. And
mhm.
we're both manifesting generators, so we reflect like a mirror, people back at themselves. And I don't know if all people tend to do that. So I would say that's true, though, that whatever you're going through, another person is going to reflect that back at you. And so what you don't like about them is actually what you don't like about yourself. And I know you can kind of tone it down or even turn it off a little bit as a manifest in general. But people obviously didn't like me. Not everybody, but it's just there were people who didn't like me, they really didn't like me. And I didn't realize I was reflecting them back to themselves. And
Mm,
but yeah, I was able to shift out of that piece of it. So yeah, that's what kind of
mm,
came up for me when you were talking about that. And then connecting with others. I have a beautiful story here in Asheville. My friend Kodiak was doing uh, contact dance, and he brought it to children as well. It hadn't been done here. So I got to observe the first contact dance. It's not really a class experience. And he had these big, tall, like 6 foot something guys, and he's not that tall, but he's just a little bit larger and just different size of men. There were three of them, and then the kids, and they were down to like age 3, if that. And so teeny little bodies, great big bodies. And they did this one thing where everybody laid down on the floor and they all rolled across the floor and nobody got hurt. It was so beautiful, this like soul connection. the thing that blew me away is my background special ed. So it's about, keeping kids socially connected and things like that. And a regular classroom teacher is like, no, we're doing this right now, stay in the group. And all of a sudden, the younger one especially, just drifted out of the group and he didn't say a thing. And then the child just drifted back into the group. And I'm like, yes, that is true connection. Step out, get in touch with you, re-regulate whatever the thing's going on, and then step back into the group. And as a society, we really punish people for stepping away. Like, you didn't call me right away. You didn't text me. It's been 24 hours and you didn't even send it. We're so mad about that. Instead of, it's not about us and what the other person is thinking about us. That's almost like imposter syndrome. You wouldn't be mad if you weren't thinking that they didn't all of a sudden like you or whatever it is.
Well, again, it's like circling back to attachment is not connection.
Ooh, yes, right? Absolutely. So, all right. So knowing the world deeply. So how do you see that one?
I think similarly to what I had said previously, it's this aspect of when we truly drop down into our experience, like as it is, without the story, without the ideas of how it is. And we really do connect what it is happening right now with a sense of clarity. It almost is interesting how it mirrors the world.
Yeah.
How it mirrors, and so and this can be seen in a variety of ways. It can be that like we have more compassion for people around us and the world around us because we see that in ourselves, or it could look like we start to encounter more synchronicities in our life that make us realize that the world is so much more connected than we could ever imagine. Or it could look like when we connect to ourselves on a deeper level and we connect to an aspect of intelligence and it's not just strictly regulated to cognition.
Right.
We can actually connect to the world more deeply and get information that we wouldn't otherwise have access to.
Yeah.
That could actually be of great service and great assistance to the collective healing of this world.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I always say inner peace will get us to world peace. So amen and pass the biscuits. Thank you so much, Sophie. This has been wonderful.
Thanks so much, Linda. It was really great being able to share all this with you.
Love it. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.